All right, so we are back and we're going to talk about university again, about the Katolicki Universitet Lubelski, Catholic University of Lublin, which, fun fact, I thought it was Catholic University of Lublin. I told everybody I was moving to Lublin, Poland for the longest time until I came here, and Polish people were looking at me very suspiciously. Like, I went to the post to mail some like documents for the school, and I was like, Lublin, Lublin, Prussia. And they were kind of like, and I was like, Lublin, you see pizza? Yeah, so anyways, like, Lublin.
Yeah. So, yeah, as you understand, it's in Poland, so very well. Polska. Why did you choose such university? Not, you could choose others. Like, for example, the best one in Poland is like yacht.
I don't know that.
Yeah. It's why you're
Very cool.
Yeah, but why did you choose that university? What is important here? Special.
Yeah. So I had been,
I know it is so sad.
I came here because of you. But why not? Go check it out.
You're like a good magic. Understand what will happen in the future. Okay, please.
Yeah. So I had been studying in the States for 2 years at the King's College in New York City. It's a great college, like highly recommend. Also, college and university, like they have different meanings in different parts of the world, but like,
oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but anyways, that aside, like the King's College is a great university. Really loved it. It's Christian. It's in New York City, a little busy. So I was there for 2 years, but university in America is also very expensive. New York City is also very expensive and very tiring. I was working like 3 jobs sometimes at once, also while being a full-time student, and so yeah, that could be a little tiring. But also, it's also my goals. Like what I wanted in life was like I knew I wanted to. I'd already lived in Europe some, and I knew that I wanted to ultimately live in Europe. And I think a great way to start a life in Europe is to get a degree here. And then
it's definitely easier after to get a work or to get in touch because you understand which what field you're like.
Living abroad is an endless cycle of learning. Learning how do you get a job in a country, how do you get a visa, there's like so much. So yeah, I wanted to get a degree in Europe, and so I was applying to universities across Europe, and one day I was curious and I looked up Catholic universities throughout Europe, and the Catholic University of Lublin was one of the first ones actually to pop up in my Google feed.
What?
So I checked it out, and I applied, and it was like one of the many schools I had applied to, so I kind of like didn't think about it, and then I heard I was accepted, so I was like, okay, like I should actually think about this because I am accepted. And the more I did research into it, because I'm interested in politics and studying European studies at school, I thought it would be a really interesting experience to come to Poland because like communism was just
everything was here.
World
War, Second World War.
And even interesting from a Jewish-Christian relations perspective too, with like World War II having been here, and like I think it feels kind of far away growing up in America because it feels like all the wars were so far, but like it's really different like being here and actually like going to a concentration camp or like walking all along the streets and seeing all these memorials for different like Polish, and it's like it's a really different experience. So I thought like coming to Poland would give a good like experience of like the mentality and the history, and I'd learn more about the people. So I ultimately decided on Catholic University of Lublin.
Okay, What is special here for you? Like if you're compared to your university, what is the difference between your first university, like your college, and here's university? Because you can understand, like people from here sometimes don't understand what does it mean college. Because for us, like college is not university. Like here, it's like smaller. Personally. University is a top, so I think it's a big difference. For example, if you compare it to Poland. But I want to compare your Polish university and your New York university. What's the difference?
Yeah, so there's like a lot of differences. So both like the one I went to in New York was Christian, and like so it was cool because it's Catholic.
Yeah.
And So that kind of is similar. I think it's also hard to tell because it was all online this past year at Cool, and so I think that's also hard to tell. I really, really loved the King's College. Like, I loved it so much, and so I think sometimes I'm kind of like, oh, I miss it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. There's nothing like that place, but I'm also like, I'm really thankful for Cool, and I think it just works out better, like for my life goals, to be able to. Yeah, like yeah, and it's really cool to have like professors who, like, a lot of my professors have lived in other countries, like they're Polish but have lived in other countries, and so it's really interesting. Like, I think that's a perspective I could never get at my last university because most of my professors were American, and like a lot of them have lived abroad, but like it's so different to like go to another country and have those like international perspectives from the professors. It makes so much difference to be able to get like the inside perspective. So I think that's something that I could never have gotten at my last university.
Oh yeah, I agree with you.
But I get here at Cool.
It's really interesting that you say that because, like, for me, I always say to come on, they're not going abroad so much time that I would like to go. So no, but it's interesting that because we were studying different like programs, because I'm studying like in Polish language psychology, you're studying international relationships in English.
European studies. I mean, it's a part of like international.
Yeah. But what's the difference about international and European studies?
I think European studies has more of an emphasis on like history and culture, where I think international relations has more of a focus on like political system and stuff, even though European studies has other politics in it.
Great.
I think, I'm not sure. But
yeah, interesting. So what would you like to say for people who are thinking maybe to move, maybe to try something new?
Yeah, I think I know as an American I found it really hard because like English is like my primary language, and like to try and figure out everything in Polish was like really difficult. I use a lot of Google Translate. I think that can be really hard and really discouraging too in trying to look at like a university abroad. And in Poland, like less than 1% of people living in Poland, according to Eurostat earlier this year, are foreigners. So Poland is a very Polish country. There's not a ton of foreigners here.
Welcome. Feel welcome to change the situation.
Yeah. But I think that's also cool because you get a very Polish perspective, and like so I think there's something really
very traditional perspective.
Yeah.
And here is not so big mix if you compare it to German or French.
Exactly, and like when I lived in Paris, like I had all American friends. I could easily just surround myself with English and easily surround myself with just American things.
And here,
I can go to McDonald's if I want, because like there's American things everywhere.
But I think that different in McDonald's as we talk about it.
But I haven't met any like American like females since I've been in Lublin. Like that is something. Although I have some great Canadian female friends, so they're really great. But yeah, it's really different. It's different. But yeah, I definitely suggest like if you're up for the adventure, it's definitely worth trying and worth seeing, and you can always transfer. And like I think financially too, it's like a lot better for Americans to study anywhere in Europe because the education system is cheaper, because it's free for like European citizens, because yours is free, right? If you're
I'm Polish.
Because you're Polish, it's free.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, Poland is totally free.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, so I'm existing in this world and I want to live.
But for most European citizens, like the university is absolutely free.
We should be enough smart. And we think it's very important point, I'm sure.
But if you come as an American, it's like, or as like a third country national, if you're coming from Africa or like wherever, it's like I pay like around 2,000 American dollars a year, which is like a lot, which a lot of Polish people are like, you're paying that to go to school, but like for me, it's like it's so much cheaper than like paying in America. So I definitely suggest like checking it out.
For us, it's a lot.
Yeah,
we can live for such a nice.
And I'm like, woo, it doesn't want it.
You're like, come on, somebody's paying like that.
So and feel free to reach out if like I'm happy to help with any of the as much as I can, because it's hard to figure out the Polish stuff.
So and feel free to check that if we're saying the truth about our university, maybe we're not.
Come check it out yourself.
So feel welcome to see what is info, and if you would like to join us, we'll be so happy. And
that's a Polish ambulance, please.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. There you go. Now you know.
Yeah, and welcome to Poland. You will feel and hear it